Good morning, everyone. Gotta love me. Kiki. The white one. Lux. Watari. Lolite. Caesar. And Soda Pop. Down here at the creek. Oh boy, she's running. I just had to round them up because Kiki hasn't been on what we call free runs very much, and she's still young. Well, she's almost 2. She'll turn 2 in April. But you see her. She's just taking off. Rein it in, Kiki! Kiki, come! And they had just run off, so I had to rein them back in. Common problem when you have young dogs. I mean, they just have to learn. It's just that you have to, if you don't have a situation like what we do, where we have our own woods, and we also have a big crop field across from us, to train them with this kind of thing, you have to be real careful, obviously, because they could get hurt if they run off into a road or whatever. They could get lost. We did have that happen one time with Stranger, actually. He had been on many runs before, done really well, but there was one time we think he maybe caught a scent of a deer or something, and he just disappeared. And we were looking for him for 2 hours, I think, out in the woods in the dark, because we often run them at night, so we have time during the week. Anyway, with LED collars on, it shines blue, so we can track them where they were going. But he disappeared into a thick part of this woods. So we ended up deciding to go back to the house and heard him howling. And it ended up being that he had run all the way back home, which is excellent. You know, it's a wonderful thing that he did that. He knew he was lost. He went home. We try to teach all of our dogs to do that. If you're lost, confused, whatever, go home. But anyway, they just get a feel for it as you take them out and as you teach them recall, which we generally teach loose recall, and we're not super strict on it, even though we probably should be. We'd like them to learn over time as we call them back during runs and all that stuff. But anyway, collies have really, really good noses on them. So when you take them out like this, if they hit a trail, you know, they can easily disappear on you if you're not paying attention. I mean, all of our collies have pretty much been on point with following our trails through the yard, or when we're out running, they will hit our scent track and follow it to wherever we're at. It's really low right now, the water is. Anyway, I didn't have a subject in mind for today's video. Most of the dogs are back at the house. Obviously, you can probably hear Rapilli barking. It would be a bit much to bring all of them down here like this, simply because we have a lot of young ones right now. Ooh, Lolly. That's gross. Oh, that's gotten all jammed up, hasn't it? Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to be wet. That's kind of cool, though. It's really neat having this creek here because it changes every year. And throughout the year, honestly, with the different debris and stuff that falls in it. We also don't do this type of stuff during hunting season, or if we do it after it's pitch black. And that is for our safety and their safety. Just in case there happens to be, because our property line runs the middle of the creek. Just in case there happens to be someone out hunting. It's just what we do. Oh gosh, I'm sleepy. I don't remember if some of these trees leaning right now. Lovely's puppies will be 10 weeks old on Wednesday. They're going for their vet check on Tuesday and their first vaccines. They already had their eye exam. We only had one that was unusual, which eye things seem to be a herding breed thing. It's Swan. He has a small coloboma in his right eye, I believe. But the ophthalmologist wasn't able to tell us how impaired eyesight-wise he was in that eye. We took them at a younger age than we normally would because the ophthalmologist was going on vacation and we had to get it done. And she said when they're that young, because they were right at 6 weeks old, I believe, it's hard to tell those sorts of things. But I can tell you that with him just running around and all that stuff, I had not seen where he seems vision impaired. But it is likely a coloboma is going to cause some sort of impairment. Doesn't affect him though. Colobomas are common in herding breeds. They are quite rampant in Aussies and Border Collies. This is only the second time that I have seen in the collie breed there being a coloboma. But it's not, like unheard of. And by that, me seeing it, that means one of ours or someone that we know having one. I'm sure there are plenty of other people that would run into it if they actually did eye exams, because most collie breeders don't. See, they're just having a blast. Lux is from Showlines. I've talked about that before. We will be showing him soon. We've been getting him good at his stand command. Just need a little more time. And we were waiting for Peyton's work schedule to change so we can actually go to shows. Because a lot of times they start on Friday. So, yeah. His ears didn't tip as well as I wanted them to. It was kind of, the breeder he came from had tipped him before he came to us, and they were kind of tipped rather wonky, and because his ears, the cartilage is very soft, it basically already broke them at a level. And while I was fighting them as he was growing, they ended up tipping over a bit too far, a bit too heavy. But there ain't nothing I can do about that now. He's almost 9 months old, I think. Can't remember. Same with him. We've been having a time with his ears. Cartilage is very soft. Pseudococcus, I mean. We've been having to try all sorts of things that we've never tried before. We've seen other people try to get his ears to stand up. But he's also been, he is 13 weeks and 25 pounds. And he's just been growing really fast. And he'll be starting to lose teeth around 4 months old, which is going to affect the ear growth. So I suspect we're going to have to juggle his ears for quite some time, and they may not even set right, but we'll try, because we also want to show him. He's a very nice puppy. I really, really like him. I'll go up this way. See if I can find a spot to cross. I apologize if the camera's shaking. I'm stepping over stuff and having to keep my hair out of my face because I've grown it out again really long and it keeps getting in the way. I normally braid it, but it's not braided today. Here we go. I'll cross right here. We're gonna go up into this area where it's dry. I just found something dead to roll in, which is fine. I gotta bathe them. I'll show you. See? She found something to roll in. Anyway, otherwise, all my puppies are doing great. We only have 4 left that are looking for homes. Just French hen, calling bird, turtle dove, and swan, the one with the Coloboma. They've been very, very friendly forward puppies. A little more energetic and loud than what we're used to from our litters. Not necessarily a bad thing, it's just different. Let's see if I can maybe sit on the street right here and let them run around in this dry spot where I can watch them. Yep. I get in the tree. Okay, there you go. Oh, yeah, not doing much. We have several litters planned. Doesn't mean they'll take, or doesn't mean we'll go through with them. Walleye 9. Possibly Sacer 9, but we want to take Sacer to an outside stud. So if that works out, then we'll take her to an outside stud. Come back down this way, Lolly! Lolly! This way! Here she comes. Good girl. Now I need the other two. Kiki! Lux! Come! They went right over the hill there. Lux! Kiki! Here they come. And Watari. There we go. Whoa. Okay. Easy, Lolly. I know she's been bad. Let's see, who else? Of course, we are most likely going to pair her with Minzizi. We had planned on taking her outside stud, but we have changed our minds on that. Starlight has been bred. We don't know if she's pregnant yet. We're waiting for our ultrasound fluid to arrive to do an ultrasound on her. She was paired with Kazahana. Spoon, we will possibly be breeding at the end of this year to Soda Pop when he comes of age. I don't suspect that we will need to wait to see how he pans out. He's had such a good personality. Love his structure. The only thing we don't like is his ears. And he's just been a really, really good puppy. Watari, this way. Watari. Normally we would wait till they're 2 years old to have the OFAs done on the hips and elbows. But Spoon is already older. She has just turned 2. She'll be having hers done. So it's kind of, what's the word? If we waited for him to be 2, she would be around 4 having her first litter, which isn't necessarily a problem. But with the females, the more you wait to breed, the more heats they go through, the higher risk you have of pyometra. Now that does seem to be there seems to be a genetic factor to that, how prone they are to pyo. But the thing is the way dogs work is that they do not shed the lining of their uterus unless they have puppies. So every heat that they have, that lining inflames, stays, and builds. So the longer you wait to breed them, the higher risk of infection and or complications. It's their biology, unfortunately. And Spoon is already 2. She turned 2 in January. Soda Pop, we have to wait until he is at least a year old. Or I think technically in the AKC standard, to be able to register the litter, the male has to be at least 7 months old. We don't like breeding them that young. The youngest male that we bred was, he was a year and 2 months. That was Mona. Don't really like breeding them younger than a year old. And he'll turn a year old in October, September or October. This is birthday. I think it's October. Yeah, because he's 13 weeks old now. He wasn't born. They were born a couple weeks before Lovey's puppies. Lovey's puppies were born on Christmas Eve. Oh, I can't remember. I'll look at it. Anyway. Whoa. Yeah, so they were born November. Soda Pop was born in end of November. There we go. That'd be crazy. For the females in the Dutch, the youngest we have bred was Love Me. She was like 2 months out from being 2 years old with her first litter. We prefer to wait till they're 2 with the females, but the youngest, in regards to like what we've seen when we feel like they are ready to have a litter, that's more of a mental, physical thing, is a year and a half. Because prior to that, they tend to go through a stage where they're very immature mentally, and usually a little crazy on the energy level. And to me, that doesn't scream, okay, you should breed this dog and let it have puppies, and this energetic dog should be, you know, taking care of a litter of puppies. Just kind of our opinion on the matter. Watari has been bred. She's 3. This is her first litter. She was just bred last weekend. I'll cross back over. We're gonna go back this way. Whoa. So anyway, we've said it before, this is Love Me's last litter. She will be spayed and staying with us. We have some, we're gonna get Brea neutered. We had wanted to try and get a litter out of him, but it's not working out. He's always had poor sperm quality. We've tried supplements. We gave him a round of antibiotics recently just in case he had a latent infection of some sorts. And it's just not improving. There was a time when it had improved when he was a bit younger, but we didn't have a female that we wanted to breed to him at the time. But now it's just, we can't seem to get the quality back up. And we're tired of fiddling with it, so we're going to be neutering Braille. And we may or may not offer him to a pet home. He's 6 years old now. We'll have to make that decision. He was our original collie. We're not always going to offer our retired dogs to pet homes because they're ones that, we really care about and want to keep as pets for ourselves. Braille is one of those, is that he was our original. He started it. But his temperament is not like we love it sort of thing. Not after we found other things, other temperaments. He's a good dog. He's just, and the coat, he has such a heavy coat. It's hard to keep up with his coat. Even him, he's got a show coat, right? But the texture of his is different. Lux's coat, it's a lot easier to brush. Braille's coat is very coarse, and it is a lot harder to brush. It also clumps up very easily, so he has to be brushed on a regular. Anyway, yeah. Stranger and Fiction are getting fixed. We decided, for various reasons, that we're not going to pursue breeding Huskies. One of the biggest reasons is that the Huskies and Collies do not get along. They coexist, they do not like each other. And the other reason is the cats. Although Fiction and Stranger leave them alone now, pursuing breeding Huskies, we just feel like it would be a lot of heartache and a lot of washing of prospects. And we just don't want to go through the hassle of that. It's too much. Weirdo. I'd go around. The Pomeranians, we may very well be also ceasing breeding them. I've talked about that before. That's still pending. There's many reasons behind that. I won't go into it right now. So we may end up being just collie breeders. I don't know. We have other breeds that we've always wanted to try owning. It's really important, in my opinion, that the base reason behind breeding a breed that you have is that you enjoy them. And you see value in continuing that breed. Value in continuing those temperaments or traits. And if you don't feel that way, then you shouldn't be breeding them, right? So, the collies, we love the collies. We love everything about them. Yes, there are things that are annoying, but they are our breed. We don't know if there are any other breeds out there that could be a breed that we really enjoy. We've both worked in veterinary clinics. Peyton worked in a how do I get across? I want to get over there. Peyton worked in a doggy daycare. We've been around a lot of breeds, but also mostly just mixed stuff. And when they're mixed, that's not really an accurate tell to a breed. Although it can tell you a lot about a breed, such as the fact that anything mixed with a bulldog is almost always like a bulldog and not the other breed. They imprint very strongly their traits and personality, and that can carry down for several generations too. I had always wanted a husky, had met a few, but now having them, we've talked about keeping them as pets, but we're not sure yet because it depends on how it goes after they're fixed. Once hormones aren't a factor in the mix. Anyway, but it's just not, it's not working out. And that's fine. Sometimes you just have to try something. You just have to do something. What matters is how you handle it then afterwards. So the Huskies haven't worked out. We'll get them fixed. And if we feel like we can manage a healthy, happy pack, then once they're fixed, they can stay. But if not, we feel like they're not getting what they need, or there's bullying going on, because there are times when you fix dogs and they're in a pack of intact dogs, the intact ones will pick on the fixed ones. So there's that. Anyway, that's my point. Doesn't hurt to try something, but how you handle it when it doesn't work out is what matters. We're going to take care of them. Find them good homes if they need them. Or they'll stay here. These are the breeds that we had talked about trying. One being Moody's, but we know Moody's are higher energy. I've also seen quite a lot of discouraging things in regards to Moody's when it comes to their physical health. I've seen several go through recently that had not even minor, but really bad patellas, luxating patellas. Like on par with what you typically see with little dogs, is how bad the luxation is. And that's no bueno. I've seen other health things in regards to the Moody's as well. But that's just the thing. Any breed that you could decide to own, or say in our case try out as a potential breed that we would want to breed. And we may end up with random pets here and there as well, because that's just the thing. Any breed is going to have its own set of issues, be it health or temperament. It's just whether or not you're willing to deal with those things, those possibilities. I've also always wanted a Dane, but with Danes comes the major things is hips, elbows, and heart. They often have really bad hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, and cardiac issues. And that comes with the giantism. I don't know if y'all realize this or not, but just as there's dwarfism, there is giganticism. And Danes, Concorsos, St. Bernards, those sorts of things have that gene in them. And that often leads to cardiac problems. I think they can also be prone to liver shunt, but I don't remember. I know that's in Irish Wolfhounds, is the liver shunt. It's just what it is. There is no breed out there. I'll say it like this, purebred breed. Because yes, mixed breeds generally have less issues. But you can end up with mixed breeds that have all the issues of the breeds that made them. So they are not, what would you call it? They are not immune to problems. It's just that when you eliminate some of the inbreeding, that tends to take away some of the health issues. But there is always that possibility that you can get that crop out that has everything. Hence why it's so important in any program, whether you're breeding purebreds or mixed breeds, that you're health testing all of the breeding prospects, and doing your best to pair ones according to, okay, this one has this issue but this one does not. That's how you do it. It's not a perfect science, because there's always the possibility of something weird popping out. Ludmy's litter, for instance. The puppy with the coloboma. None of the other ones have had a coloboma. None of her previous litters had a coloboma. But she had a previous litter with a puppy that had a genetic defect in the heart. That kind of stuff. That's why you don't keep those ones. You don't use those ones as breeding prospects. The puppy that we're keeping from this litter is Lord, and he has the best eyes out of all of them. That's how you breed healthier animals. But can you ever guarantee when you breed an animal, or you yourself when you have a child, that it won't have issues? No, you cannot. Because the thing about DNA, the thing about chromosomes, is that they can and do randomly mutate and cause a disease to then become hereditary. They mutate more when you're inbreeding. That's the crux of inbreeding, is that they mutate more when you do that. So, there you go. No peepees. And the other part of it is that if you're trying to maintain a breed, there will be times where you will have to breed one that's less than ideal physically or temperamentally, because you need that genetic diversity. The complications of breeding anything. I'll go up here and look, stare at the horses. I always make these videos so long, and I don't mean to. I just... figured you guys would enjoy watching the dogs. And I could talk here and there if I had something to talk about. I feel like I repeat myself and I don't mean to. Look up here. Erebos and Nim are up here. I think I breached it in a short vid that I put up. But Erebos is pregnant. Not by Nim. There she is. Yes, Nim is a stallion. But it wasn't from him, it was from the broker that we got her from. She is due in June or July, is what the vet said. She doesn't really overly look pregnant, but she's pregnant. Nah, don't bark. No. I think that's it. I got puppies to bathe for their appointment on Tuesday. Got other things to do. Anyway, that's why Nim is in with her, because the fact that she's already pregnant, we figured it would be good for him to be around another horse and a mare that's not going to tolerate bad behavior. Given that he is a stallion, a lot of people equate them to having bad behaviors and etc. etc. One of those reasons is because a lot of times stallions aren't allowed to be around any other horses, and that creates problems. So we have them together so she can teach him manners. And he's young. Turned 3. Turning 3, I think, or turned 3. Oh yeah. We finally got a saddle, so we'll be teaching them to ride soon. I'm gonna go back to the house and do things I need to do. So talk at y'all another time. Bye-bye.